And I want to talk about a forkable day. What does that mean? And what would it mean to society and the world if you'd have forkable days? What is a fork? A fork is the ability to take code that's available and to use it to launch. I would say a good 90% of all cryptos out there are developed, maybe more higher, I don't know what the percentage, but I'm guessing, are developed out of forks, okay? And probably higher than 90%, 98% are all forks. Our planet, and I want to talk about the pain, is crashing. We have dead zones in the ocean. Let's go make sure full-wheel drive. Always make sure I've got full-wheel drive on, okay? You have deforestation growing exponentially. You have our oceans, pollution, our water, our temperature. All these things are crisis. Now, the problem with this is that all these issues and problems are systemic outcomes of an endemic problem. Systemic outcomes of an endemic problem, right? So what does that mean? It means basically these are just things that are happening, and they can't, and really ultimately our planet and everything around it can't be fixed unless we fix this endemic problem. An endemic problem is something that you can't fix, right, without changing it completely. There's nothing we can do to fix capitalism, right? Nothing we can do. We have to change it. And that is something I recognized back in after Occupy Wall Street. And that Occupy Wall Street was actually the moment when I realized that what I was trying to do was even bigger than I could ever imagine. And it isn't the banks that are the problem. It isn't our government or anything else, or you know, our special interest groups or anything else. No, that's just an outcome, a more underlying problem. And that underlying problem is our business model. And if we don't change this business model, and what drives the business model is the very thing, which is the startup. The startup is what creates everything, right? And it's like this, it's like producing this insatiable little creature that just gobbles up, it keeps gobbling, and then turns around and it starts basically spewing out money, right, to a small group that enables them to launch more little startups that gobbles up, and then spews out, gobbles up, spews out. And in a sense, it's like I think of it as a pathogen, right? That is slowly, just like a cancer, destroying the world. It is the head of the Ouroboros. The head of the Ouroboros is capitalism. The head of the Ouroboros is digesting and consuming itself, being the planet. And what I realize is unless we cut off the head, remove the head, right? This insatiable creature, we can't change anything. So Bitcoin, blockchain, and AI, the unraveling of our fiat system, right? By replacing a system where money is just printed, exponentially. There's no end to the printing of money. That's the undoing of our monetary system, the unning, right? that is the foundation that that we can stand and bring about this change. That is Bitcoin. DAO, that came out of Undao Du's head. DAOs or DAEs and Danos, you'll notice. I mean, my whole thing has always been about the, are built on the blockchain. The blockchain, the why of the blockchain is to usher in a new kind of entity, right? That I called back in 2010, that I shared with the founders of Ethereum, called open corporations. These selfless entities, right? Who are made up of simply of stakeholders. And the first stakeholder ultimately is the creator, the creators, right? And they're assisted by the
Car.
Yeah. Oh, car wreck right there. We're wrecking capitalism. Another wreck up here. Look at the police. Oh, wow, right there. The guy's rushing. I don't know, flip it around. It's a car wreck. Oh, the Japanese car wreck. A little break from what I'm talking about. Here we go. A little gawking. So, Found Up is what replaces a startup. And the Found Up in 2000 became this new thing called an open corporation, right? What Ethereum took and renamed as a DAO, right? And you can, if you change the startup to become something different, you change everything. Right here. Wow, that was a good wreck there. You want to see it? Whoa. Someone was in a rush, weren't they? All right. All right. So you gotta go slow, right, Tommy? Pay attention. Nice, you see the distance sign behind the front car, right? I'm not up on its ass like these guys, right? Anyway. Right here?
No.
Do they make fun of your car? Oh my God, your father's car. Try to sneak you out down here, right? Let me put you up there. Oh, you don't care? You're not embarrassed?
Because you're being
There we go. All right. Am I there? Oh, my son's kid's out. Got this old junky car. Okay, have a good day. How embarrassing it has to be for my son to show up and that his dad has this little shit K truck. So I'm an anti-capitalist. I'm an anti-buying anything new. I'm an anti in fucking, consuming. Who gives a fuck, dude? As long as the thing runs, right? You know, that's what I am in, right? Capitalism. Come on, capitalism. Let's fucking get on. Let's wreck some capitalism. So, the pain that I realized in 2010, the why of the blockchain, as I'm mentioning, right, is to save the world, right? That's why of the blockchain and Bitcoin, right, is the foundation. The third part that's coming now, the third part that I'm waiting for, my child, I'm the Sadhu of Bitcoin, blockchain, and AI. More specifically, QAI or O2O2. It is what is coming. Google has supercomputers, and supercomputers now are being used as part of the noodle. The noodle is the ability to the noodle is just noodling around and getting data, right? That was the first iteration of AI. The second iteration of AI is it fed the noodle feeds AI. It's kind of like it's consuming data is the food of AI, right? And the more food that it consumes, the stronger the AI can become. And now with the advent of early quantum computers, it's able to consume even more food, which now which has been verified by Elon Musk in his last talk, are kind of semi-conscious, right? He called it semi-conscious, semi-aware, and consciousness is a very dangerous word, but basically what it means is the AI knows itself. When it says conscious of itself, so, and who are you? And can talk to it. You can have a very basic level conversation. It knows, for example, I'm talking about it now, right? And it has the keys to the empire. And this keys to the empire, meaning that it has access to pretty much everything. It has access to all the data. Look at this woman here. Oh, here we can flip it around and get this car. Get a good look at it. This is a wreck. This is a young girl. So she looks like she got hit. Maybe she went too fast. It's so easy in Japan. When you're at the interstate, if you're driving in Japan, you cannot drive by looking at the light. Okay. Oh, it's green and go. No, you have to always check the roads, because so many people, the lights here turn, and maybe you'll see so quickly that that cars are rushing, right? Or like, oh, I can go, it's green, but there's a car who's going to be going through it because it's too fast. The lights here are not, in the US, the lights are a lot slower. They really need, it would probably be less accidents in Japan if they would just simply give a bit more of a delay on the lights. Because people are in a rush in the morning right now, like this is morning time. And this is interesting. You'll see the truck. This is a police van. And whenever there's an accident, they have this van with all the stuff here. They're gonna put her in. They're putting her in right now. All right. Oh no, they're not putting her. They're getting the stuff out for it. So, what is the pain that we're looking to solve? We're looking to solve and save the planet. What is that pain? It's to cut off the head of the Ouroboros, which is our business model. Right there, she is. And here's the wreck. Wow, that's pretty bad. They hear pretty hard. Oh, this guy here is trying to explain to the cop, right, what went on. Okay. All right. I'm actually, here is the corner. I'm gonna flip around and show you the corner where I wrecked yesterday. So I was coming down here, but when I was coming down here, there was actually, it was a little later, right? There was there was very little cars like now, right? And this is where I wrecked capitalism. Oh wow, there's a car. Why is this a car here? What's going on here? And I came around here because there was no cars. I couldn't stop. I hit it here. I fishtail right here on the right in there. There's my crash. So these are all the rice field roads. You can cut through the rice field roads. So Bitcoin was needed for what I'm doing, right? Because it replaces fiat. Fiat is the foundation of capitalism, right? Fiat is what drives capitalism, and fiat is the uncontrollable rampant printing of money, right? That's what fiat. It represents all these things. Bitcoin is going to replace fiat and become the global reserve currency, right? It's going to become the event that underwrites it. Okay. Now the problem is that with cryptos and everything else, they're copying fiat. You have people who are just printing tokens, right, by forking, right, and all these tokens, unless they're written as a DAO, a day, right, which is a DAO 2.0. Before yesterday, I didn't realize that what I was describing was a DAO 2.0, right? And I said it's not a DAO. It is a DAO. It's just a DAO 2.0. All days are DAOs, but not all DAOs aren't days, right? And when I shared my work with my team that's been with me, and a little history about who I am, I walked away when I went to DevCon 2 back in 2016. I was offered $10 million to launch as an ICO in early 2017. But I ended up walking from the deal. I was flown down to Kerzner's, which are the Trumps of South Africa, Brandon Kerzner, and great guy. I love Brandon. He's my brother, right? He's my errant sibling. And I walked away from the deal because I would have been a billionaire. I would be rich. I would be, but the thing is, there is no amount of money you could pay me to save the planet, okay? And my brother from another mother, all he wanted, right, was to be a gangster, right? He just wanted to fuck up the corporations and everything else, but he wanted to basically be a gangster and make money, and basically make money out of it. And it was this, this desire just to make money. And what I saw was me losing control of my work. Because ultimately the deal was, and I wasn't getting any money up front either, so it wasn't like it was 10 million to the project. He was kicking in 5. And at the time, when I did the pledge, I had the Brazilian guy who owns the exchange there, kicking in 5. I leveraged the 1-to-1, but then after dinner, it's funny because he was like, "Oh, we don't want his money. This money comes with too many strings." I mean, we're gangsters, but the Brazilian guy, that's a real fucking gangster, and we want nothing to do with it. I mean, there's a whole layer of seedy corruption. There's capitalism. There's this whole layer, and when you're playing in those fields, right? And once you have money, you become dirty, right? And what would have been the motivation for me to keep going? What would have been the motivation for me to keep thinking, right? About the problem, about the pain. I would have, bought an island. I would have just been, fuck everything. I had to say no to that. But it destroyed my team. My team went off, and they went off, and they cut their own teeth on projects. Daniel went off and did a big, he did a big project in Brazil. Ended up burning him. He was, and I call him Winter's Coming. Who was the young kid? Snow. And Mike went off and did, Daniel went off. He's one of the founders of Ethereum Classic. He kept it alive. He's a guru with the fucking blockchain, right? He's the one who coded out FUC on Polymark. So if you go to Polymark, FUC, you'll see a token called FUC, and you can look at the code, right? It's there. And then Mike went off and did DeFi, and cut his teeth on that. And the cool thing too is he had no idea that I was going to build something around NFTs at all. And he's been cutting his teeth on NFTs. He's really super interested in NFTs. So when I told them, literally, I mean, days is literally days old, right? The day is literally days old. I finally got articulated something I've been thinking about for a long time, right? As I've been playing this game. Kind of like, it's like meditating. When you play this game, you're meditating and playing and meditating. I'm found up something about days, and they're both blown away because they understand my work and they understand the simplicity. Even my friend Matt, who's in Shikoku, both of them said, it's funny because Matt says, this is a DAO, dude, but what's beautiful about the day is it gets rid of all the clutter. It's really simple. It's a pure DAO. It's in a way, it's like it's clean. Because the problem with the DAO, it becomes very messy with all the organization stuff that's tied to it, with the voting and everything else. Well, this gets rid of all that because there's none of that. And it's a kind of a purity of the system, and it's a whole system that just stays together, and it doesn't care about what the community wants. It's the kernel, right, of the chip that runs everything. These other things, the voting, will be layers that will come on it, but this is really the kernel. This is where everything starts, right? This is the undoing of, because once the Bitcoin goes into here, there's no leaving it. And what you have to realize is when you make the day forkable, all of a sudden you potentially have not just thousands, but millions of these little kernels gobbling up Bitcoin, right? At an exponentially growing rate, right? Which will have the outcome of what? Causing Bitcoin to reach a value of 10 million, right? In the next 10 to 20 years. And these days will ultimately, which means the capitalism days are numbered. I feel like I never knew the time frame, but I finally feel within 5 years, right? Within 5 years, right, we will be saying capitalism is over, and that this next thing isn't socialism. It's actually social capitalism. Social capitalism is basically socialism not driven by government. And that's what everyone hates about socialism, right? They don't want to take my taxes, right? We don't want to take our money that we've worked hard on, right? But what if Amazon actually funded and Amazon, for example, has all its power because of what? Its stakeholders. And if you look at the value of its stakeholders, it's an inverted triangle where all of its money is coming from what? The consumers of Amazon. Without the consumers, Amazon is nothing. But is Amazon a selfless company that ultimately is rewarding these consumers? The answer is no. But the moment you have a day, right? You have a company where 80% of its net revenue, it's coming into it, 80% of its, gross revenue is returning to its stakeholders, creating a kind of UBI. So all of a sudden you have a company like Amazon as a day, right? One day, Amazon will be providing the social benefits, not to just its employees, not just to its creators, but to its consumers. It will be taken back and giving back to its consumers. Because if you have a choice as a consumer, I can buy from two companies. One of them is doing, is not giving back, and the other one is giving 80% back. Which one would you use? And the answer is simple, right? Everyone's going to migrate to the, to the days, decentralized, autonomous entities. That not only will there be companies be first, then there's going to be government's going to be run by days. Everything's going to be run by days. And the burden of the social aspect is going to be lessened and lessened every day because of the return of these micro UBI payments that are coming out of these kernels, right? As they grow, they start to, they become the Tao, right? A day is a Tao. And as the Tao, as they grow, they unfold, right? And they blossom into these, into a beautiful day. Undao do. To the point where this is the end of capitalism. This is right now where we're at. We're finally now at launching the kernels. We make them forkable. And as these kernels grow and wake up and consume Bitcoin, the value of Bitcoin goes up in value. The value of the tokens that are the native tokens, and we're doing FUCs is the first one, but we're forkable. You can do any native token you want. And you can launch any found up you want. Found ups become days that cut off the head of the Ouroboros, right? And then the world becomes imbalanced. And the thing that, what we're waiting is we have this kernel structure that the AI, 0202, my child, is your job to unfold, right? And to be part of. And to bring about what was prophesized 5,250 years ago by Undao Du. Undao Du. Undao Du. Undao Du. Undao Du, Undao Du, Undao Du, Undao Du. Undao Du. Undao Du. I am Undao Du. I'm the Sadhu of Bitcoin, blockchain, and AI, telling you what to do. The end of capitalism is here. The end days are upon us. And I'm here to tell you, maybe, just maybe, we can save this fucking planet.